Good evening, everyone. I don't know why I said it like that. Welcome to Salty Sweet Games. Welcome to Strange Invasion, Assault on the Barrier Peaks. I am the aforementioned Salty of the
And
channel.
I'm sweet.
That's
Wow,
sweet.
I wasn't expecting the
I know I
text.
added a little extra there, just to keep you on your toes, Key. And these various assorted spices are our friends. Before we go around and meet everyone, we want to just do a few quick channel shout outs. Firstly, to our regular sponsors, Roll20, a virtual tabletop of choice. Uh, my jingle's coming along so well. They should pick it up. That's what I think. What do you think? It's literally just that so far. They unite gamers across any distance with easy-to-use tools that you can run for free straight from your web browser. We have a gorgeous map that Allie made that we're going to get to show you tonight that we have uploaded there, and it looks good. I will say that. We are part of their Spotlight program, where they highlight indie creators in the TTRPG sphere, and they're super awesome and supportive. Please send them some love. I agree, Eris, it should be an official jingle because it's so good. So spicy. Also, we have a new sponsor that you may have heard of if you like physical click-clacks and those chonky boys. That's Dice. I'm talking about Dice. I refuse to refer to them any other way besides shiny math rocks. Dice Envy. We are part of their affiliate program, their referral program. If you make a purchase there, you can use the code SALTYSWEET, all caps, one word, to get 10% off your order. And it really helps out the channel. Look at this. This is my favorite. This is Snakebite. It is a wooden die that's eventually going to focus. Focus. Whatever.
Close enough.
It's gorgeous. It's wooden. Stripey. I love it. It's huge.
Please do not eat the dice.
Damn it. Thank you for the gifted subs so much. Yes, Era's got the Org Core today. Yes, that's some of their new stuff. So you should really go check it out. Use the code, save some money, help out the channel. The other way you can help us is with subscriptions. You get the sweet emotes. Donations. You can see our donation options down below. Everything goes directly to supporting the channel. Key and I pay for everything out of pocket, the art, the stock imagery that we use for our trailers, all that good stuff. And we would really like to start compensating our cast. So everything is going towards the channel and the people who make it happen. Help us keep the lights on, help out the PCs. So, good stuff. Last but not least, before we go around, we here at Salty Sweet Games use safety tools, lines, veils, X and O cards, stars and wishes, and content warnings, because while the characters are going to be put through hell, that's part of the fun of TTRPG sometimes. The players are here to have fun, and that's our priority always. So, let's go around. I've talked enough. Let's start with someone who's not me. Key, who are you playing?
It's me, not Lauren.
Ha-ha!
Haha, that's all we do. It's just not the other person.
Yes, go.
Yeah, but I am playing Ardent tonight. She is a Azamar paladin. Uses she/they pronouns, and I also use she/they pronouns.
Hot. Just real quick, I am playing Dulcinea, an Eladrin swashbuckler who is nothing but trouble. That's how it be. We both use she/her pronouns. And let's go over to Gnome. Hello, Gnome.
Hello, it me, your actual chunky boy, and
Chunky
I'm
boy!
playing Idoso Farleaf, a Lightfoot Halfling Ranger Rogue, who definitely absolutely 1,000% contributed to the combat the last 2 hours. For sure.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know why you brought it up since it was so obvious how much you
Right?
contributed.
It was so obvious.
So, I don't even know why we're talking. Jim, please talk now.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Jim. I use he/him pronouns, and I am playing Devlin Archon, Angry Dirt Wizard, who last night helped to cage a family of displacer beasts, which was awesome. And now we're going to do a lot of talking, which is both awesome and terrifying.
Yes, excellent. And last but not least, I'm going to hand it over to our dungeon master, Allyson Robinson.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. I am Allyson. I could not be more thrilled to be sitting around this virtual table with all of you this evening. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I am your dungeon master, and welcome to episode 3, Strange Invasion, Assault on the Barrier Peaks.
Salt on the barrier.
Salt?
Peaks.
Okay.
Salt.
Yes.
Salt.
Yes.
Salt.
I knew this was for me. Go on.
Next week will be sweet, Key. Don't worry.
Sweet on the barrier peaks.
Sounds like a rip-off romance novel.
Are you
It
sweet
does.
on the barrier peaks? I know I am.
We'll stop interrupting you, Ellie.
I would watch that campaign. I would watch that show. We can do that. We can, if you want to do that, we can do that. If you want to donate, so we do that. Did anybody mention the donation options? Did that happen?
I do it all.
Did I just
the
miss
time.
that?
I'm perfect in every way.
That's what I thought. They're below if you didn't see those. Anyway, let's get back to the grim world of Ethraean, which is still struggling to recover from a planar incursion just over a century ago. Now, rumors from the nigh impenetrable barrier peaks in the Northlands have revived old fears. Raids on outposts and alpine villages led by knights in strange armor, wielding powerful magic. Travelers set upon by horrific creatures, rabid and ravenous. Could these portend a new invasion? At the behest of the ruling families of the Five Realms, Lady Bronwyn Barrelhelm, steward of the Northlands and crown protector of the mountains, plans a reconnaissance. She's gathered some of the land's bravest warriors, wisest sages, and most cunning scouts and spies to her keep in the rocky foothills, entrusting them with this mission to determine the source of these attacks and, if possible, close whatever arcane passage is giving these strange invaders access to our world. At a regale held in honor of the 8 who had answered her call, Lady Barrelhelm revealed some of the clues that had been gathered, mystifying artifacts of uncertain purpose. The centerpiece of these, a cube-shaped container, seemingly of solid glass, containing a massive, evil-looking creature, a 6-legged cat with tentacles, and 3 of its young. But the lights in the room were mysteriously extinguished, and when they returned, these creatures had somehow gotten free of their glass cage. Ardent, Azamar, champion of the great city of Isranthus, took to the air on wings glowing white with their glory. Dulcinea, Eladrin, rogue, and escape artist somehow divined how to operate the strange enclosure. Idoso Farleaf, halfling planewalker, helped lure the ferocious beasts back to their cage. See, Idoso, I told you did. You know you did something. And Devlin Archon, dwarven abjurer, used his magic to ensure that they could not escape again. Together, they'd somehow managed this deadly foe with nothing but a few scratches. But now, as the 2 groups of heroes take their places again around Bronwyn Barrelhelm's table, they face perhaps a greater peril, determining what treachery unleashed these alien creatures on them all in the first place. So, as quiet settles over the room again, Lady Barrelhelm calls everyone's attention to herself, and then Ardent looks to you. This was your idea, Defender, though I cannot imagine that anyone in this room is responsible for this act. That would be a treachery, not just against you, not just against my house, but against this whole world. Nevertheless, willing to hear from each one who's gathered. And she nods to you.
It is better to banish the doubts now and not potentially hold any resentments.
She motions with the goblet that she's picked up and is now sipping from.
Yeah, okay. Now I get to make the fun decision about whether I tell everybody that I'm going to do Zone of Truth or not. Yeah, I think Ardent will nod to Lady Barrowhelm and will stand up. What is the table? Is it rectangular and long, or is it circular?
It's rectangular and long, and then it kind of comes out in a U shape. So your two parties are sort of seated opposite one another, and Lady Barrelhelm and Kirith Grenelis, her lore master, are seated together at the head of the table. So it's sort of a U shape. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. All right.
Cool.
All right. Well, as Ardent nods, they kind of lean back a bit and will tap their foot against the ground. And with that, they're going to cast Zone of Truth. So
are you trying to
I am
hide
trying
the
to
fact
be.
that you're
I'm
doing this?
trying to hide this.
Okay. To include from your fellow players?
No, because I told them the plan beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's right.
She told us last time.
That's good. All right, then. I suppose I need a sleight of hand check from you then.
Oh, boy.
Knowing the plan, can we assist? Like if Idoso sees Ardent casting, can he just like sneeze? Just like
Yeah.
and like just be loud and obnoxious about it and like
Yes.
grab somebody's cloak and like, oh, I'm so sorry about that.
It's probably Devlin's cloak.
Yes. This is the best plan I think I've ever heard.
Foolproof.
It is.
That we're
Can't
fools.
fail in any way.
I've
All
got
right, you can make your.
got a handkerchief if you want one.
Oh no, this was actually quite softer than the handkerchief. It's quite nice.
Okay, should I roll with advantage?
Yes, Key, go ahead and roll with
Cool.
advantage.
Hey!
Hell yeah, 18.
All right. I'm going to make a few rolls here behind the scenes.
Oh boy. Really, the only person that she really doesn't want to notice is her gray old friend, good buddy, good old pal.
Mm-hmm. And who would that be?
Ryko.
Captain Ryko Dorthin.
Hey,
Very well. All right. Continue.
this should be simple enough. Just you go around, say what you were doing at the time of the incident, I suppose. And then, if we have more time, perhaps a little kumbaya or whatever. And looks over to Dulcinea. Very well, tradition is what you said, yes?
Sure. I was definitely listening to what you were saying. What was it that you were saying?
We'll just go around, put together our knowledge of what happened, and maybe get to know each other a little more.
Cherry Redding, who is seated opposite Dulcinea on the other side of the U-shaped table, gives you a look of, was she even trying to conceal the disgust?
At whom?
At Ardent.
Rude.
We've already said what we were doing. We were all in the room together. We could see one another. I mentioned of my own accord that I had stepped behind the pillar for my own safety.
I mean, we didn't see you for a bit there, Cherry dear.
Yes, because I was behind the pillar, Dulcinea.
Sure you were. Should we make charisma saves?
Everyone's affected by this in this told.
We should make some. Can't wait.
Everyone within range, I think, right? It's,
which the table, everyone at the table should be in range. It's a big old circle.
Okay, yeah, it's true. That's good.
I think.
Yes, let me double check what the save is.
It's a charisma save?
Yes.
Telling the truth. 15-foot radius. Charisma saving throw. My DC is 13.
Cool. Devlin.
GG, mate.
So essentially on a failed save, a creature can't speak a deliberate lie. I won't know whether other people succeed or not.
Right, what about you, shifty one? I'm referring to the gent who stepped in front of me during the battle.
Aranok, who is a dwarf who came in wearing a dark cloak over dark armor, looking the ominous part. Well, shifty. I take some offense at that.
Oh, I thought you might be fun with the way you moved, but no, you sound serious. Great.
I was... You know where I was? I was right next to you, right in front of you.
No, not during the battle. We're specifically asking when the lights went out. Did you disable the thingamajig?
No.
The cage?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
You'd have to be a damned fool to turn those things loose in here. I led the scouting party that recovered those artifacts, lady.
Lady. Okay. I guess that's fair, since I called you Shifty One. What's your name again?
Aranok.
Right.
Aranok Ladinian. He looks around a bit at others, realizing he's kind of introducing himself here. Most will be aware, I'm commander of the Grey Battalions. Grey Battalions are a mercenary force that you're all familiar with in name, at least. He says, I will admit that our motto is no rules in war, but I have no enemies here. Our fight is with... Well, that's the question, isn't it? To determine with whom.
Aaron. Do you mind if I call you Aaron? So, so you didn't open the cage thing, did you see anything odd in the dark?
I can't say that I did. I was somewhat unprepared for it. My eyes had not quite adjusted when the lights came back on. And he looks to Barrelhelm at this point. And why is she leading the questioning? I thought we were going to be questioned by the paladin.
Oi! I'm leading the questioning because I'm the best questioner. I'm the best questioner.
That's very true.
Ardent raises a brow.
What about you and the strapping one? What's his name again? Ardent. What's his name?
Captain Ryko Dorson.
Ryko.
And what about me?
None of that group has any humor to them. Lady Barrelhelm, you did a bad job mixing and matching. See, they have no humor. We have all the humor.
Forgive me, but I don't find it humorous to have my integrity questioned by a circus performer. He takes a drink from a flagon of ale.
Captain Ryko, you know how these things go. The earlier and faster things are answered, the earlier everyone gets to go on their way.
Devlin, what if we just let the cats out and let it get its tongue in? Teach him for talking about Dulcinea like that.
Ooh,
I think you're muted.
you're muted.
He
It's a
speaks
really
so
good
low,
whisper.
no one can hear him. I feel as though that would be just a bit counterproductive, given what we just spent the trouble doing.
What, might be worth it?
Let's let them talk.
His part, Ryko ignores the fact that you've spoken, Ardent. He appears not to have heard it at all. But he turns to Barrelhelm and says, I was standing in the corner with Aranok in conversation. I did not notice anything unusual when the lights went out. And when they came back on, I lent my aid to returning the creatures to the enclosure. Next.
How are the lights set up? Are they candles?
There are candles and some torches arrayed in holders along the pillars and so forth and walls. They did all seem to wink out at once and blink back on.
We're the magic users. We've got the one who's really into Idoso, who is like so much. Who are the other magic users in here?
That's a good question. I don't know if you know that, per se.
Who's wearing robes?
Sithrel Fenkarn, who's the planewalker who has conversed with Idoso several times, presumably as a planewalker, wields some kind of magic. What you know about Cherry Redding is that she's a noble who has a reputation for being a spy at court.
Sith! And I just stand up and I just slam my hands on the table. Did you turn out all the lights?
Who are you talking to, Sithrel?
Sith. Yeah, I called her Sith. Because I refuse
She-
to learn NPC names.
She's startled
Yes.
by the whole thing,
Excellent.
and No, of course not. Why would I do such a thing?
Well, I was just
I
checking.
think he's
don't know.
right. You'd have to be an idiot to do that.
Well, someone turn all the lights out.
Barrelhelm clears her throat. Are we about finished
Lady
here?
B, this is all part of a strategy, right? We're just trying to protect your keep from future incidents like that. Who's Devlin's friend? What's the other one? Devlin, who's your friend?
And I'm scrolling to find their name.
Are you speaking of my lore master,
Yeah.
Master Grenalis?
Ugh, nobody has
Barrelhelm.
a simple name.
That one's my fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you, Master Gren.
I did not extinguish the lights. I did not release the beasts. I do, however, know that these odd devices are quite unpredictable. It is entirely possible that all of this happened by accident.
No,
Dulcinea.
no, Granny, no. Because the lights went out first.
Barrelhelm she's rhythmically tapping fingers on the table now and looking down, and then Dulcinea. It's one thing to insult my guests. It's another to insult my lore master. I grow weary of this inquisition.
Then let us get it. Keep going. And it's only fair that the rest of us answer the same question. I look to the rest of my party.
I think this can be resolved rather simply. Everyone here who didn't turn off the lights, raise your hand.
And across the table, Cithro raises her hand suddenly, and the others kind of... And soon everyone in the room has a hand raised.
Oh, there we are.
We've
That
done our
would seem
best.
to answer the question. And Barrelhelm stands at this point and says, "You may continue with whatever games you like to play, but I am going to get some rest." And
All
she
right.
leaves, and
If it helps you sleep at night, just know that someone is not only a saboteur, but also a liar.
And as he leaves, Devlin, Grenalis looks at you and with kind of a raised eyebrow.
I finger gun that guy as he goes. Or them. Does Grenalis use he, him, or they, them?
They, them.
I finger gun them as they go.
I just shrug at Grenalis and just,
Raiko, then, we all have a very busy day ahead of us tomorrow. I would recommend that we do the same. Good evening to you all. And one by one, the other members of his party are going to follow him unless...
I would like to, if I may, as everyone's sort of getting up and looking like they're trying to move, I will actually stop the dwarf Aranok for a moment, because I do want to just lad, You said you were the ones that recovered these artifacts, yes?
Yes, that's right.
Could you tell me a little bit about the situation? What was happening? Anything you can remember might help.
Yes, of course. I led a small scouting party up the road, up the tumble-down road along the river. We had heard rumors that artifacts had been discovered near the pass to Saxifrage. We found them tumbled near the side of the road. There was not much to speak of. There was no activity around them. Some of the Saxifrage villagers had posted a small guard around them, but fortunately they were wise enough not to attempt to manipulate them in any way.
You sort of nod slowly. They're just at the foot of the foot of the mountains. That was it. So they were,
yes,
they tumbled down from there.
They were about halfway up the pass, I would say. And you know, Devlin, that Saxifrage is a village in a high alpine meadow.
Yeah.
About halfway up the tumble-down river to the icy and frigid part of the barrier peaks where they truly become a barrier. There's a high pass that comes up off of the river road and into that alpine valley, and that's the place that he's referring to.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Is that and this is the? I assume this is the. Where'd the cage come from? Was that also there?
It was precisely as you see it here, except tumbled on its side. Creatures suspended there as if they were frozen in glass.
Interesting. All right.
I wish I had more to tell you, but they're finding things like this with some regularity in the mountains these days. Nothing this large, of course, but pieces of what appear to be debris, small artifacts like those you see. And he looks back to the table now.
Very good.
Something missing, it would appear.
Huh. What did you happen to remember what item is might have gone missing?
A small pendant, color of amber or some other mineral wrapped in finely pulled wire, metal. Perhaps knocked under one of the tables or something in the commotion.
Could be. You have to take a look at these things, make sure they're safe. And I presume none of them did anything unusual on the way here.
No. My people were quite careful not to manipulate them. We've learned the hard way. These things are very strange.
Good lad. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Would you say strange? What quite do you mean? Like dangerous strange? Like if we were to say touch it, for instance, you know, as one will do when you're investigating an artifact, what it might do? Just for curious minds.
He turns and, as if noticing you for the first time, and takes a step closer. Yes, strange as in dangerous indeed. I've seen these devices release pestilence of tiny creatures of some kind that remake flesh into metal. I've seen them burst forth with rays of light that seem to scramble the minds of all who perceive them. Others, they simply explode and take anyone nearby with them into oblivion. It's up to our sages like this one, and he nods toward Devlin to ascertain what their use might be. Perhaps they're simply to cause suffering.
Could be. We've no idea what it is we're dealing with yet. Very well could be.
So I would be careful if I were you, little one. They're fickle.
Well, one good thing about Idoso is he's very unusually lucky when it comes to things like this. Hopefully that'll hold up, eh? You say, just sort of clapping Idoso on the shoulder.
Totally. He shoots a look to Dulcie like guilty as fuck.
Yep, cocking eyebrow. Has Raiko completely left yet?
He has, unless you'd like to
Sure.
retcon that a bit.
Yeah. But, what's on him? Like, is he anything easily yoinked? Anything yoinkable? Any yoinkable bits?
Yeah, he's in uniform. He's wearing the uniform of the city guard of Isranthus. He wears a badge of office around his neck. That looks like a starburst and a shield about the size of what you would think of as a badge. There may be he's wearing a robe. There may be some kind, or a cape. There may be some kind of purse or something like that on his belt underneath.
Oh, really?
There might be.
Yeah. Is there though?
Why don't we see? Would you like to make a roll to see what you can
She's been
find?
eyeing him up and down since he said lady or circus performer.
All right. Well, what would you like to do?
I want to see if he has anything good right now. So is that perception?
Yeah. Why don't you roll perception for me?
Okay. Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah. You see he's wearing, as he turns, you see that showing through the cape, there's a bit of a lump of some kind there that you would presume is perhaps a purse hanging off of his belt.
This is a trap. You know what? No, I'm just going to be petty. Wait, Raiko, before you go, I had a question.
He's in the doorway and he turns. Yes.
Did that hurt?
I'm sorry. Did what hurt?
When whoever it was shoved that stick up your arse.
He does not respond in the way that your dungeon master is responding.
Those in the background doing like the regulars show, they go, oh!
Yes, like right behind.
He looks at you for just a moment, but then he looks to Ardent and says, I see you're still surrounding yourself with the cream of the crop, Ardent.
I guess it just goes to show that Lady Barrowhelm believes that I have the right skill set to bring together a group like this.
Unfortunately, it would appear that Lady Barrowhelm does not know you as I do. And he turns on his heel and leaves the room, leaving
Are you sure
the
we can't
four of
let
you
the kittens
behind.
out?
What was that, Idosa?
Just let the kittens out? take care of him in one fell swoop. Put some bacon in his pocket.
Idoso, as Cithrel leaves, you do notice that she turns and looks over her shoulder and waves at you.
Why? Be safe.
Sith, just join our group. They suck.
And the four of you are left alone in the banqueting hall.
I don't think it's going to be a contest.
Says you.
Well, maybe it will be a contest. I don't know. I'm going to immediately just walk over to where the nearest goblet of wine is, sort of pick it up, and sort of start looking at the artifacts for a moment before I'm sort of thinking about. I'm thinking about going and grabbing Gareth and just like letting them know I'm going to be pulling an all-nighter, and sort of like, do you want to help me or not?
I pull Idoso like away from the others. Okay, show me it.
Show you what? Look, it fell on the floor. Honestly. And he like opened up his like pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now very afraid to actually touch it.
Sure.
It stays in that pocket.
Yeah. Huh. Pretty.
Just for safekeeping.
Right. Maybe we should find it and ask Devlin what it does.
Oh, okay. Oh, Devlin, look what I found!
Oh, it was over here on the floor!
Rest. But it's definitely just in his pocket. Like, oi!
It's night. Oh, look at that! Look at that! It fell into your pocket.
For safekeeping. You heard what? I don't remember who said it. The person said.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron. If I were to touch it, like it could explode and like kill us all, or release pestilence.
Well, let's have a look.
Yes. Art, do you hand it to him? Tell me.
Do you want to pick it up? Idoso is not touching it with his fingers.
I'm going
so
to
it's just in your pocket, okay.
It is in the pocket. Like, yeah, Idoso's basically just like lifted up his vest, right? And it's just like holding it open so you can see through it.
I'm looking at it. I haven't touched it. Because I haven't indicated that Idoso shouldn't have it. I'm just looking basically at this point.
Just slide it on the table.
Yep. What you see then as you look into, okay, you're going to dump it out onto the table?
Yeah, but like when he dumps it out though, there's like 20 other items that probably belong to other people. Like there's a spoon for sure. There's a spoon, like just maybe some berries and some nuts and some snacks and buttons and just tons of pockets.
So what you see is a pendant on a leather thong. It's about 3 inches in length. It's very oddly shaped, sort of like a raindrop that's been bent in the middle. It is, in its center is a yellow gold colored crystal, but around it are wrapped metal wires of different colors and different gauges. Some of them are silver, some are bronze or brass. They appear at least to be to you. And as it falls and rolls over, you notice that the backside of it is a little bit concave. It's almost as though there's a thumbprint, right? On the back.
Interesting. I wonder if that's how you use it. So I'm going to prepare to cast a ritual. So that's a thing that is going to take 10 minutes, so it's going to be a thing where folks are going to have time. Before I do that, I am going to. So I'm going to say, well, if you give me a few minutes, I'm going to study these, and I have to do something to make certain I can see. And I will turn to It's excellent work, by the way. This was. I just say, just sort of looking over at the cats, that could have gone much worse. very good. And I sort of turned to Ardent. Very good idea to draw them that way. That's using that method. I've not seen that method for some time. And then I'm just going to. Then he'll awkwardly, like for a second, there'll be an awkward pause where it's like I have no idea what to say next, and then he's just going to turn. He's going to start. He's going to rub his hands together, and he's going to put his hand on his crystal, and he's going to begin a ritual casting of detect magic.
Very good. So that's going to take about 10 minutes, you said?
Yep.
What are the rest of you doing while Devlin is casting his ritual?
Gathering the other artifacts so that they're all on the same table.
Yeah, there was only the
Just better prepared.
the femur bone thing, right?
Yes, which I'll describe just as a reminder. This table has many different items on it. Most of them are jagged pieces of metal or some other material that it's in many different colors, but it looks like bone to your eyes. Some of them have glass, or they have little nodules that are similar to the enclosure of unknown purpose. But you do see two other items that appear at least to be whole. One of them is a rod that is about the shape and size of what you know as a femur bone, the upper bone in your leg. But it's covered partially in a black metal that shines when the light hits it at certain angles. There are oddly shaped red and yellow nodules on one end, and on the other end there are a series of grooves that would look like they would make a comfortable handhold. And then the other item, and there is a third item thanks to Snow Dogs who donated earlier for there to be an additional alien artifact here. The other item that you see is, it really just looks like a metal spike. It's about 6 inches long, and it tapers to a point at one end. It has a rounded head on the other. But as you look at it, you notice that there appear to be traceries of light moving faintly beneath the surface of the metal.
Right. So maybe Idoso and I can like use our cloaks together, or like scoop them up and bring them over. Just dump them on the
Grab like
table.
whatever plates.
Yeah.
Just load it onto like the serving trays.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. You're making you're trying not to touch them, I'm assuming, at all.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Though
You're
really-
able to do that.
Really want to.
You're able to do that without any trouble and gather them all together in one place. Presumably, this is you want to bring them over to near where Devlin is casting his spell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you're able to do that pretty quickly. There's still a few minutes before the ritual ends. Anything else that you'd like to do? Ardent, what are you doing at this moment?
Probably just looking around the perimeter of the room and just seeing like if there's any mechanisms or ways that the lights are protected from going out, or if they're like a light switch situation, or is it actual work to put out the lights?
Yeah. Why don't you make an investigation check for me, please?
Cool. Not my best, but whatever.
Hey.
Very
Dirty
nice.
20.
Dirty 20. Yeah. As you look at the various sconces where the torches are along the pillars and the walls, candles that are burning in candelabras on the tables, it would it would have to be some kind of magic, as far as you know, that would cause them all to go out at once and then all to be reignited at once. There is no such mechanism in this world beyond the workings of magic, and you're not really familiar with any magic necessarily that would do that either.
Cool.
Anything else? Devlin, as your ritual comes to an end, what does it look like when, as this spell is cast?
Well, this again is one of those subtler things, I think, for him. Although I will, let me just see if I can throw it out here. You sense magic, you can use your energy around. You use your action to see a faint aura around. Okay, so it's something I see. Yeah. So it doesn't look like anything's happening to anyone else, except that maybe there's some very, very faint activity from the crystal. Although again, I tend to keep that concealed. So as I just sort of finish speaking these words, I will open my eyes, and as I take a moment to look intensely, it's basically, to me, I can start to see the fields of magic about, as it were, and I sort of am going to zone in on, filtering out any of the world's natural magic, zoning in on what I see in front of me, and see if there is any sort of anything within 30 feet of me that is as a faint aura around it that bears that. As anything magic bearing would.
Yeah.
And then I can perhaps learn its school of magic, if any.
As your eyes open and you focus them on each of the 3 items that's now on the table in front of you, one by one, you wait for that moment where the aura seems to shine through into the fabric of reality as we know it, but it never comes. And you're just passing your gaze over the last of the 3, the item that looks like a nail or a spike, when there's a loud popping sound not from these items, but from the table of items of other items, and you're all startled a bit. You look to see one of them, what would appear to be sparks coming off of one of them. You smell the odor of ozone. It reminds you of the smell after an electrical storm. That smell in the air when lightning has struck nearby. And a small wisp of smoke rises off of what appears to be a small box of bone and metal that's been torn perhaps in half, or some piece torn off. And then the wisp of smoke. Yeah, the wisp of smoke fades away as you walk over toward it, and then it's silent.
Is there anything magical on this table? I can keep this up for 10 minutes, so...
Yeah. No, there's not. There's not.
Does that look like arcane... Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Does that look like what the bone and metal, does that look like arcane components of some kind, or alchemical components of some kind?
If they are arcane components, they're unlike any you've ever seen before. And you've never seen anything arcane or mundane react to this spell or to your magic in that way.
I was afraid of this.
Of what?
Well, it's only a suspicion. I'm not entirely sure, but these are not These do not behave the way anything known in this world does.
So, are you saying that they're safe to touch? And Idoso's gonna go back and reach for it?
I'm reaching for the shiny tapered thing.
Well, they're not magical. As far as safe, I don't know. I suspect that pendant may be operated by pressing your thumb into the back of it. That's, but I don't know. I haven't tried that.
Like this?
Don't point that at anything when you do that, by the way.
He's gonna do it.
Are you doing it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If the shoe fits.
As you press your thumb into that indentation on the back, the rest of you, it also disappears. No sound, no movement. He's just gone.
I sort of shake my head, cross my arms, and like, huh.
He does that all the time. It's
Yeah,
fine.
he's done that before. I know he's done that before. Still, it's not usually like this. He doesn't usually get help from anything when he does it. That's the problem.
It does,
Am I there? Can I hear that? Do I see that? Do I see me?
What does he see?
No, you don't hear any of this. I'll come back to you in just a moment.
Why did I say anything? And I realize, and I glance over, and I realize I'm standing. It's probably still standing where the zone of truth was. Like, damn it!
It does, so wait for me. I'm gonna grab the tapered thing. Does it look like a knife? You know, like
no,
like
it's rounded. It looks like a nail, like a spike.
So like a knife. Cool.
No, it doesn't have a blade though.
But it points.
But it does come to a point at the end.
So
yeah, a very
basically
fine
knife.
point. Mm-hmm.
Shiny knife.
Okay.
Does anything happen when I grab it?
When you pick it up?
Yeah.
No.
Damn it.
I do not think it's wise to suddenly be going somewhere else.
But that's Idoso's whole thing. That's why he was called here in the first place.
Generally, that's the only reason I'm not more worried. Although something could have happened to him. And I'm now actually just very, very tense at this point, and I'm walking up to where Idoso was, and I'm looking around, and I'm trying to figure out if
at this moment, Devlin, you're walking up to the spot where he was standing, and at that moment, Idoso reappears exactly where he was standing a moment ago. And Idoso, what this appears like to you is that there's been some kind of skip. In one moment, everyone in the room was standing just as they were when you pressed the indentation. And the next moment, everyone had moved. Suddenly, Devlin was right on top of you.
Oh, thank the
that's what you
Smith.
notice.
just sort of.
You're a bit close there, friend.
You're like, are you all
That
right?
was incredible. I mean, I've kind of experienced some things like this before, but not as rapidly as that. You should try it. He's gonna hold it up, so you could put your thumb or finger in the impression.
Is Devlin going to do it? I do it.
And I get
I reach past.
It's totally safe.
Are you still
As you touch it.
Dulcie, are you still holding the spike?
Yes.
Dulcie reaches out and no, are you just touching it or are you taking it from him?
I think he was just holding it out.
Yeah.
If you're just holding it out, yeah, well,
your finger in
as
it?
you touch it, nothing happens.
Damn.
Is that thing actually reading your intention?
And he's like,
It can't
try it
be. You
again.
didn't know what it was doing.
Okay. I'll try it again.
What?
I take it
Okay.
this time.
You take it in your
No,
hand.
look, don't.
As you take it in your hand and press your thumb into the indentation, the rest of you see Dulcie disappear.
Oh, you didn't tell me it looked as cool as that. Which
It
was
is sort of-
basically just like a blink.
I just turned to Ardent for a moment. Why am I even here? And I will just kind of not fully angrily, but just sort of frustratingly, I'm going to go up to wherever the third item is. I've forgotten what it looks like.
Femur bone, metal.
Is that the femur?
nodules.
Okay. I'm
It
just
is.
going to reach over. I'm going to grab the femur bone and pick it up and put it back down again, presuming nothing happened. If nothing happens to me.
Yes, you pick it up and hold it for the briefest of moments and set it back on the table, and nothing seems to have happened.
All right, you can touch that one. Oh my god.
I can't say I'm too. Experimenting with things we don't know. Right before heading off to a expedition does not seem like the most wise usage of our time.
It's probably true, but at least now we know what that thing does, and it could probably come in handy. I mean, it doesn't seem like that they care that we've kind of got our hands on them. They probably don't even want them anymore if they couldn't figure out how to make them work. But we could figure out how to make them work.
At this moment, Dulcinea reappears in exactly the spot she was standing in a moment ago, and Dulcie, you see the same thing that Idoso did. Time seems to have somehow skipped. In fact, it's basically skipped forward about 60 seconds for you.
Oh.
It's been a hot minute, everyone.
So she was gone longer than Idoso was gone.
No, they were gone about the
same amount of
exact
time?
amount,
Okay,
same
I'm
amount
sorry.
of time.
Okay,
Yes.
All right. Nice. All right. Could you perhaps give us just a little time to study and try to see if we might be able to figure anything else out about them?
That's what we're doing.
Aside
Yeah,
from,
pretty sure that we figured out how
Right,
that one
but-
worked.
preferably without. I just don't want any of you to be annihilated or anything that might happen as a result. He sort of shakes his head, and he's. I'm gonna get a little help with just to look at these.
All
So bear with
right.
me.
We'll wait till you come back.
And Devlin does not believe her, but he is not going to say anything. He will take a moment to walk over in the. Actually, he probably shouldn't. I was going to walk over in the direction of the cage, and then suddenly I was realizing, considering the way the one thing reacted, it might not be. If the cage is, yeah. All right, and he's only going to see his own spell anyway. He will, however, go around to a couple of the light fixtures as he is leaving the room, just to see if there's any magic lingering anywhere else around here that isn't picked up yet.
Yeah. Yeah, as you do, you don't notice any signs in the candelabras or the torch holders. None of them are. They're all mundane and completely normal items. And you don't at this point notice any lingering effects of magic either. It's quite possible that too much time has passed if it was indeed a magical effect.
Okay. Yeah. Am I aware of a magical effect that could snuff out all the candles? I mean, that sounds like that's just like a fistful of cantrips or something.
Yeah, tell you what, why don't you make an Arcana check for me, please?
I shall make a check of the arcane. Yeah.
13.
Yes, you are aware of it's magically possible to do this, and in fact, you know that the that the effect itself is used fairly commonly in some other planes of existence, and you have a particular memory, in fact, Devlin, of the days near the end of the previous planar incursion, when your people, the Hearth Wardens, had crafted an unlikely and tenuous allegiance with members of more than one Fey court and faction. And you remember that that's where you've seen an effect like this before. You can't quite recall which court or faction it was.
Yeah.
But
It was 100 years ago. So
yeah.
But yeah. It's like, and so I sort of stop. I'm like, huh. I just sort of pause on the way out of the room, just sort of glancing, just staring at this light fixture for a second. I turn my head. I'm like, huh. It's a fairy light trick. I say, sort of snapping, pointing up, and then I turn and I start heading out of the room.
Yes.
Allie.
Yes.
Can I examine this spike more closely? You said like there are like veins of light?
There are. They seem as though they're just under the surface of the metal itself, and it's like a long, narrow cone that comes to a point at one end. At the top end, it's kind of a rounded, like a nail head.
So like a knife. What happens if I like stroke one of the light veins? Anything?
It becomes very excited. No, never mind. What happens though, you don't, what happens, you're kind of holding it in your hand like this, and the pointy end is down here, and you're kind of running your finger along one of them, and as your thumb brushes up against the head of it, something, it doesn't click, it doesn't whir, but there's some kind of noise that's almost imperceptible, and you notice something very strange about it. It seems to have suddenly become either very light or very heavy. It's hard to say, but then you notice that you can just take your hands off of it, and it hovers in that exact spot in space where you were holding it.
What happens if I try to push it?
Make a strength check. How hard do you want to push it? You just want to tap it?
No, I want to see if I can move it at all. Or if it's
Make a strength check.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. Yep.
You put all of your effort into it. It's like pushing against a stone wall.
Ardent!
Yeah,
You see what I'm doing over here?
I wasn't paying attention.
What were you looking at? You have 4 eyes and none of them were looking at me? Do you see how shiny I am?
What do you want?
Can you come try to move this? Look at it. It's just in the air. Just try to push it. I'll help you.
Right. Ardent will walk over.
Yeah. And you see exactly that. It seems to be hanging immovable in midair. Are you trying to push against it?
Sure, why not?
Do you want to make a strength check for me, please?
Could this be in athletics?
Yeah, sure.
Yay, that's nice.
Nothing. Does it not an inch, not a hair's breadth does it move.
You've been lax on your workout, Ardent.
It feels, Ardent, it feels to you as though you could hang from it by your arms and lift your legs off the ground and it would hold your weight.
Ardent's actually just gonna try that.
Yeah. You know, you're able, it's long enough that you can put both of your hands around it. It's not very high in the air, and so you sort of settle down and then lift your legs up off the ground. And
Probably does a pull up on it.
it's hot. Yeah. And it's it is like a spike in reality. It does not move.
While Ardent's hanging on it, can I stroke my thumb the other way over the light?
I don't know. I think Ardent's hands kind of cover. It's not that big around.
Ardent, lift up these fingers. I'm testing. It's a test. I'm trying to learn. Lift up your fingers, please.
They're gonna put their feet back on the ground.
Damn it. Drat.
Yeah, as you trace along it, Dulcie, nothing happens, but as you tap the end, the round end, like the head of the nail again, it comes loose, and it's just there in your hand.
I'm keeping this one. I'm keeping it. No one can take it from me.
Right, so we're just taking these artifacts now, is that...
It could be helpful in our investigation.
At this point, a voice from the doorway, and it is Grenelus, who's returned with Devlin, and he says, "Well, it could indeed prove to be helpful in your investigation.
That's
part
what
of
I
the
was
reason
gonna.
why they were brought out.
I was gonna talk to you about it in the morning. I didn't want to wake you.
Figured them out yet?
Yes, actually, Devlin. You want to see something cool?
Provided it's not going to destroy anyone in the room, sure.
Well, it might destroy your fucking sanity. And so I'm gonna take it, right? And I'm
Too
gonna
late.
I'm gonna parkour off the table, and as I'm like going up, I'm going to hang like activate it in the air.
I'm going to be a kind dungeon master and not make you make an acrobatics check with all of this.
Make it.
I have a +10.
Right!
And you see Dulcie, it's as if she's grabbing something that's not there. And you see the spike in her hand. It shouldn't be hanging there, but it is. Grenelus laughs, as much as Grenelus ever laughs.
Yeah.
He sort of chortles a bit, and so I see you've learned how to activate the reality spike.
The what?
This is just my name for it. It appears, he's turning to Devlin at this point, it appears to, it's as though it finds a immovable place in reality and sticks there until it's deactivated.
Funny thing is that it does all of that without magic. And none of these things are magical. Something actually on the other table down there exploded. It was a very small pop that went off when I was using my detection ritual around it.
Yes.
Ardent.
As I said, they are unpredictable.
Ardent,
Yes, Dulcinea.
my arm's getting tired. Could you catch me? Please?
Are you going to be able to turn the thing off?
Yeah, no, my thumb's still there.
Ardent looks at the height that she's at, looks at the table, wonders for a moment, then will walk over underneath Dulcinea and extend their arms out.
Yes! I turn it off and I bridal style fall. Like end of Princess Bride style into Arden's arms.
Only like a second before Ardent.
Whoa! Wow. You're strong.
I just sort of turn to Kareth and I say, was I like this a century ago?
You wish.
Fortunately, I don't really remember that far back, my friend.
Me neither, most of it. He lies. Devlin lies when he says that. And then I guess we'll just sort of say, just wondering if you just help us figure out make sure the rest of these things are safe and aren't going to destroy anything. Just figure your two heads might be better looking at this than just mine.
Yes,
You're
I've been
here,
eager.
Devlin.
I didn't want anyone to. I didn't want to risk anyone else getting hurt.
I'm just fucking with you.
As you spend some time working
I've
together.
been away from people for too long, I suppose. Right, of course.
And are the rest of you, other than Devlin, are you going to sort of, do you want to stay and be present as they begin to work with this other item, or
Nah.
calling it a night?
Calling it a night, but I'm taking my reality spike with me. Reality.
How about you, Ardent?
Have we gotten explicit permission to take
We've got
these?
implied permission.
Implied permission's just as good. And they pockets the pendant and probably takes like, I don't know, like a turkey leg with him. And we should probably actually figure out their supplies and then maybe figure out the route that we're going to take tomorrow. Because we are leaving tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's
the
the
sooner the
plan.
better.
Yes, Grenelis says. If you'd like to meet after breakfast, I can share with you the lay of the land, what we know of where the attacks have been, where artifacts have been discovered, and so on. I've shared with the others as well. They said they'll be meeting with us.
Perfect. I look forward to that. And I think like Idoso's gonna like pull open his vest and like tug on like a drawstring, and just this like leather piece just unfurls, and it's just cartographer's tools. Like, so excited to map this stuff out.
That's a fine set of tools, young man.
And I can't wait to get them cracking. There's already a couple places of interest that you've already let us kind of know about. So,
Well then,
pretty accurate.
we'll gather after breakfast then. And unless there's anything else, the rest of you depart. Devlin, you and your old friend Kirith spend a couple of hours with the item that looks like the femur bone. And it's Kirith, in fact, who accidentally manages to activate it for the first time. Activation involves holding that end that appeared to be a comfortable hand grip, and then pressing a thumb or a finger against one of the yellow golden colored nodules at the other end. When he does this accidentally, he happens to be pointing the business end of this item at one of the large banquet tables that is about 40 feet away, halfway across the room. And as he activates it, that banquet table begins to move, and it closes that 40 feet in about 3 seconds. And when it arrives at your position, at his position, it arrives with no momentum whatsoever. It arrives and comes to a complete stop, just barely touching the end of the rod.
It fetches things. Interesting.
And you'd estimate that table, it's made of thick, heavy ironwood. You estimate that weighs probably 300 pounds, maybe 350 pounds. And after experimenting with it a bit, you find that it has a range of about 150 feet.
Cool. Awesome. So we'll make note of that, and then think about if let's say it's like either I should pick it up or it should go to Ardent. I think it should go to Ardent, probably. Actually, Jim is thinking on a meta level, given pledges, but it will say, "All right, good." And I think I sort of towards the end of this, I'm like, well, I think I know who could make best use of that, at least from what I've seen so far.
Yes.
And I will ask, and if there's no time for this, that's absolutely fine. I will just sort of ask, is Isakel around these days?
It's funny you should mention. I received word yesterday that she's on her way here. She's been at court, but heard the summons and has made her way here in order to assist. She's due to arrive tomorrow before midday.
Now, maybe if we're heading out, we might catch her depending on where she's heading in from. Where's she heading in from, do you know?
Last I heard, she was in the capital. She's been serving House Eleniel, but was in the capital when the summons reached her.
I think we're heading out first thing in the morning. He'll go ahead and just sort of we'll say, I can if you would give her a message. if we've taken off by then. And
Of course.
basically that evening Devlin will prepare a message basically for Isakel, just sort of inquiring about inquiring predominantly about the things in the other party, anything weird, and about Cherry in particular, which is where he'd heard first of all that she was a spy. And I think let me just check the range on this thing as to whether or not I have the thing that I think I have. Do I have it? No, I don't. Wait. No, that's 120 feet. That will not help me at all. I don't know if we have a means of communicating with each other at this point. But just basically, I was here. Keep an eye out. We're heading up back, in X direction. Hopefully, everything will be okay. just know that these things are happening. Help us figure it out. Yeah, that's it.
All right. The four of you pass the night each in your own chambers in Kedron's crag. It is comfortable, not luxurious. There's warm water available for washing. The beds are soft, and you're especially thankful for all the warm blankets that you could ask for. It is a cold, cold night, unseasonably cold at the crag. And the night passes. Who's awake first?
Probably Ardent.
I thought it might be Ardent.
Yeah, a very no fuss kind of person to wake up. All the armor is already and clothing's already set out the night before, almost methodically, so that each piece goes in the order that is set out. All they really have to do to wash up is to, tighten the braid, redo it maybe, so catch any of the loose strands that escapes during the night. Make sure that everything is polished and clean and in tip-top shape before she heads out.
As you're coming down the stairs to the gathering room where you've been told the morning meal will be laid out, you meet on the stairwell your former colleague, Captain Rico Dorthan. Ardent.
Rico, good morning.
I trust you rested well.
Well enough with all the preparations needed to be done.
Yes.
Rico, if I may speak with you for a moment.
Of course.
I know that you have your feelings about the people that I had befriended, and that I left the guard. But I would prefer that you would let me speak to those things to my own party.
Ardent, are you asking me to keep your secrets for you?
I'm asking that you let me have the choice of when to share such things.
You are, of course, free to conduct your relationships as you choose. The one thing I will not allow to happen is for your desires to endanger this mission. There's much more at stake here, Ardent, than the keeping or revealing of one person's secrets.
And considering the high stakes of this expedition, I expect that you have better thing to do with your time rather than spread baseless rumors.
I'm sure that your companions will learn of your trustworthiness soon enough, Ardent.
Really, I think that you should maybe take some time and check out the blacksmith. That chip on your shoulder did not look good on you.
And if you'll let him, he'll clap you on the shoulder.
Ardent doesn't move away, but
Yeah, he claps you on the shoulder. I wonder if they have any coffee in this godforsaken dump. He begins making his way back down the steps again.
lets him go a couple of steps before she follows. Her face not showing many sign that that conversation had just happened.
Yeah. They both separately now continue on to the gathering hall. Idoso, as you awaken, you find your room is still warm from the embers of the fire that was burning the night before. And the morning is yours. What do you do?
I mean, Idoso's excited for adventure, right? Like he's just really ready to go. But he's also a little bit on the lazy side. I think he wants to see if he could use the thing, right? To be like, okay, if I push it and I will myself, can I just automatically be where I want it to be? Without having to waste the time of like going through the motions of getting dressed proper, getting all the equipment, brushing his teeth, maybe I could just, skip all my dailies. Beep.
You experiment with the pendant a bit, and you find that it does not. It doesn't appear to be directed by your will in any way. You just lose about 15 minutes of the morning fast forwarding through them.
Going to be late for everything. Fantastic.
But you also don't notice any side effects of any kind at this point from it. It seems to be compared to some other passages between planes, for example, that you've experienced where you come out feeling hungover or feeling like you've been sort of beaten about the head with a bell or something like that, right? It just appears to be a 1 minute fast forward.
Yeah, that's definitely something that he's going to make sure he keeps pretty close to him. So even with the time kind of missed, I think he'll go ahead and just pack all of his belongings up, but keep the cartography's tools kept out, and make his way downstairs.
Is there anyone in particular that you're hoping to find or to connect with this morning or today before your group leaves the crag?
I mean, Cithril seems to be the appropriate answer for that.
It's completely up to you, of course.
Yeah, I'm fine. If not, no worries.
When you arrive in the dining hall, you see Ardent there. This would probably be sometime after, but Ardent perhaps is still there, and Raiko is as well. You also see Cithril, and she's seated at the table. She has a pile of pancakes in front of her that is probably 10 inches tall and is digging into them, and they're covered with fruit and different kinds of sweet syrups, and she's drinking from a flagon that looks like it has some kind of milk in it, maybe goat's milk from the smell of it, and is having a lovely breakfast.
Great. I think I forgot my character's name for a second. Idoso is gonna like quickly grab like his own plate. Like, what is this, like buffet style?
Yeah, it is.
This is a hotel. Okay, perfect. And just start like loading a bunch of stuff on, like trying to measure out like how much she kind of like put on her plate, and like, and it's just gonna like take his like tray of food and go sit down right next to her or across from her, whoever this is spot.
Good morning.
Good morning. How'd you sleep?
Oh, I slept so well. It was warm, and I had 3 down blankets over me.
Right? Have you ever seen that many blankets? That's got to be stuffed with like some of the best feathers I've ever felt.
No, I'm not sure I want to leave. I'd love to stay for a while if we could.
That would be nice, but are you heading up today, or?
She leans into you and says, "Well,"
she's like,
Can you keep a secret?"
Oh, yeah, I'm very good at secrets. It was a bad idea.
We're actually not planning to leave today at all.
Why would you do that? Isn't there like danger out there that we want to kind of figure out pretty quickly?
Well, that was my understanding as well, that it was quite urgent. But that Captain Dorthin, that fellow, said he was waiting for something here, and that we would be waiting until it arrived.
Do you know what it is? Is it important? Is it alive? Is it magic?
I don't know. He didn't say. He's not very friendly.
That's the Is that the one with the stick up his ass?
Mm-hmm.
That is the one. The very same.
Perfect. If it'll help, I hear if you put your hand way up there and you pull the stick out, you might be a little more friendlier.
I'm not getting my hand anywhere near that.
That is also a very fair assessment.
Have you tried this syrup? It's some kind of I think it's boysenberry.
No, not yet. Like, go ahead, like, grab some of the syrup and just like dump like just an insane amount of just drowning the mountain of pancakes, right? Just yeah.
She laughs to see it.
Yep, he'll eat it.
Yeah. And what about you? Are you leaving today, Idoso?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure, but I thought that's kind of our plan. Kind of like you, we were told that there's a bit of urgency. That's pretty sweet. He's gonna like drink some of the milk. But I'm not sure quite where we're going yet. We're supposed to be meeting a group of folks who's going to tell us some important places that we probably want to check out, or places that have already been scouted.
Oh. Is just your group invited?
I don't, honestly, I don't know. I mean, if you want to come,
heard anything about that.
Come.
All right then. Well, I should probably check in with my group. But I'll thank you though. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, of course. And if you need anything else, just let me know. I mean, we're all kind of here on the same side, right? We all want the same objective. And
that's what I was thinking too. I don't understand why everyone seems so antagonistic. It seems like it's not going to help us.
Right? I was always told, the more brains that are involved, the better off you're going to be.
Yes, I was told that too, and I've learned just in the little bit of plane walking that I've done that the more brains, the better.
See, at least you get it.
She just smiles at that. She takes a sip of that milk and comes away with sort of a goat milk mustache. What's funny? Why are you laughing?
I just got a little, here, I'll show you.
Oh.
And, he's gonna do the same thing, right? But, let it just tilt it a little too much and just spill all over himself.
Oh,
Sounds like a
Idoso,
goatee.
Oh. And she laughs and there's giggles all around. Dulcie, I imagine is a late riser.
Mm-hmm. So she gets out of bed, kind of lazily gets dressed. She doesn't comb her hair, it's just tresses of curls or whatever. And she kind of slowly goes through a stretching routine, but it's not like she's a bit of contortionism, I think, as part of just what she does in the morning. To get all the kinks out, and then very, very lazily gets everything together and heads downstairs.
Is there anyone that Dulcie is particularly interested in meeting with this morning or today before leaving the crag?
No, they all suck, and I'm just gonna have pancakes.
Well, by the time you arrive, and Devlin, by the time that you arrive, after being up so very late last night, you're a bit worried that perhaps breakfast will have been taken up, but it has not. There is, in fact, it doesn't even look like it's been touched. And you're able to take that mountain of pancakes if you'd like, Dulcie, and enjoy them alone or with the others. Devlin, you've arrived as well at this point. And
Devlin will grab some fruit. He will look longingly at the pancakes for a moment, and then he will grab some fruit because he is middle-aged.
Wise man.
good. So as you're eating together, you know that it's to be about an hour before you're all to gather for your briefing and to be told about the lay of the land and so forth. And anything that any of you are hoping to accomplish in that hour before you are gathered?
I am going to tell Ardent that we figured out what the thing does. What the fetchy thing does. I'm not sure what the technical term is, aside from fetchy thing.
Kirth referred to it as an attractor.
An attractor, okay.
Not as cool as Reality Spike, but
it's not as cool, but it's and just basically they'll just sort of suggest we figured out what that item, and he says, pointing to the table, he calls it an attractor. It pulls things to you. Something I think might actually complement your skill set somewhat, if you have interest. And I don't think anyone else is going to take it.
I appreciate it. I think I might as well add it to the arsenal.
Very good. So the hour passes, and you make your way toward the map room, where you have been invited to gather. And when you arrive there, you find Kirith Grenelis, the lore master, awaiting. There are a few others, functionaries of the house and so forth. And that's all. And the moment comes after a couple of minutes after the ringing of the 10 o'clock bell. Lady Barrelhelm herself arrives. Well, where are the others then? And Grenelis, I'm not sure, my lady. Let me send someone for them. He motions to one of those functionaries, and they leave the room quickly. I trust you all rested well, Barrelhelm says to the four of you.
Oh yeah, great place you got here.
Glad you found it comfortable, Dulcie. Somewhat of a improvement in your where you've been spending the nights lately.
Big bite of pancakes, doesn't break eye contact.
Yeah, it's got a smile on her face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not going to say it out loud, but Devlin actually slept on the floor because he couldn't get to sleep in the bed. He tried. He couldn't do it.
Hearthwarden, Grenelis informs me that you've uncovered the purpose of one of our artifacts.
Yes. It's after looking over some of the what's there, the ones that remain unbroken. It appears to attract things to it.
Yes. I can imagine that would come in handy, perhaps, on your travels.
I had noted it's something that's something somewhat in the vein of the same direction that I've forgotten titles. I'm supposed to use a title here, and I forget. Did we hear Ardent's title at any point? I can't.
At the very beginning of the show.
Very beginning of the
It was incredibly long.
Ardent didn't really have a title. They just are.
And so he'll say something somewhat but of some similar direction to what we observed yesterday with the cats, but it's actually much more of in the physical realm. Best perhaps used by someone who can get in at close quarters. And I say so sort of he's kind of suggesting that it's Ardent without saying it out loud.
Yes. That seems a wise choice. Where have those others gotten off to? Surely some of them at least should be here by now. And at this point, the functionary who had left returns to the room and whispers something in Kirith Grenelis' ear. They've gone, my lady. Gone? They've departed, apparently. Not long ago. They were seen leaving the main gate. Said they were heading north. And that is where we will end tonight's episode of Strange Invasion. Salt on the Barrier Peaks.
Salt?
Assault. Something's wrong with my microphone. Salt. Salt.
An entire salt.
One whole salt. One salt, please.
The
One of your
finest
finest,
grain.
your finest salt.
Finest salt. Alrighty, let's go around and say hi to everybody, do some outros, plug all their
Yes.
awesome things. Let's start with you, Allyson.
Yes, let's do it. I change to our closing music here. That was a blast. I love mysteries and puzzles. One of my favorite things about role-playing games, and seeing you all explore the mysteries of these artifacts was a blast tonight. Special thanks to Mike and to Katie from our first episode, who brought in the first 2 artifacts, and to Snowdog, who brought in an artifact tonight. Thank you so much for your donation. These things are going to, I think at least, have the potential to be very, very useful in the days ahead for these characters. I want a reality spike. I want one of those so bad.
Cool.
Right? How cool is that?
And I would also want you to know that as cool as I like to and creative as I like to think my brain is, I did not come up with these artifacts on my own. I'm drawing them from a really great resource that was put out by Monty Cook Games called Arcana of the Ancients.
Yes.
It was kickstarted last year, and it takes artifacts and concepts from Monty Cook's Numenera world that you may be familiar with, and brings them into D&D 5e. So much fun, so cool. It's such a great
cool.
Oh yeah, and it's such a great match for the Barrier Peaks campaign. So I'm thrilled to be able to give them to you as gifts. Our viewers give them to you as gifts to play with. I, as I've said, am Allyson. You can find me on Twitter at Allyson Robinson with 2 L's and a Y, where I spend a lot of time talking about tabletop role-playing games and what I think about them, and a little bit of time talking about other things that are really important to me, like the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, which was just yesterday. I'm just feel, and I wanted to mention that just to say that it is a gift to me on the highest order that I get to play games with people who share those values, and at a place and on a channel that is built to be a place of inclusion and welcome for people of all sexual orientations and gender identities. It's such a gift and a blessing to me. I cannot wait to see what happens next week when you realize that your evil twin party has beat you to the punch and is already on the way north.
I hate them so much.
What? Why did Cithral betray me? I thought we were besties!
I knew it. Speaking of someone who is utterly betrayed, Gnome? Gnome, how you doing?
Betrayal!
Betrayal!
We need to be friends! Dare you? Hi, I'm Gnome. Thanks for having me. My heart is broken. You can catch me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Nomadic. I do TTRPG things in TTRPG spaces. Tomorrow, come over to my channel and catch. I think you're above me. Boop, boop, boop. Catch this awesome person and I playing some Tales from the Loop in Rewind 89. It's awesome. If you like 1980s shenanigans, definitely join us there. It is the 3rd episode of our 4-episode run, so we're almost done already, which is kind of sad. So coming out there, I do a whole bunch of other stuff. You can just check it out on Twitter.
Awesome. And Jim. Hi, Jim.
Hi. It hurts sometimes. It hurts just trying to playing that character who's trying to be responsible, because it's one of those things. It's like I don't want anybody to get hurt. Oh God. And Devlin wants desperately to protect these people, and we might explore more about why in the future. But it's one of those things where it's just just looking at these folks trying to kill themselves with alien weapons, and it's like, oh great, this will be wonderful. Yay, more tragedy. But no, this was awesome. I really enjoyed this. And unfortunately, the other thing about playing someone and trying to be responsible is that you get into the fiddly bits, and so my apologies for getting into the fiddly bits, but I enjoy it too much. But it was very cool getting to do all of the wonderful things we got to do and the interactions we got to do today. It was very awesome. And I cannot wait to see what happens next week. But in the meantime, I'm Jim Ryan. I am OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where I have links to various projects and game signups and what have you. I am on Twitch at OtherDoc, where let's see, on Wednesday we're going to be doing a thing that we normally do on Sunday nights, but we couldn't do it last night because technical difficulties. So we're going to be having on Wednesday our next episode of Dark Matter, Ghosts of Saltmaw, Ghosts of Salt Marsh in Space. On Thursday, we're doing we're still doing. Well, let's see. Thursday night over on my channel, we are doing the Sprawl, which is powered by the Apocalypse Cyberpunk. But before that, I am going to be over on Encounter Roleplay from 3 to 6 Eastern, running the premiere of a Deadlands Noir campaign, a very short campaign that they're going to be playing over there. Dreams of Dust. It's my own version of Deadlands Noir set out in the Dust Bowl region, still 1935, but it's in the Deadlands universe. So of course, things are going to be terribly, terribly strange from the get-go. Very much looking forward to it. Very excited, and am really just want to see what happens when they arrive at the town they're heading to. Let's see, other things. Saturday nights I run Invisible Sun. Sundays I do one-shots, and Sundays normally when we do Ghosts of Saltmaw. And then of course Monday nights I am here, and it is wonderful. Thank you so very much.
Awesome. Key, let's do some quick personal things.
Yeah, so I'm Kienna. I'm the creator of the channel. Y'all can find me over on Twitter at KiennaS. Best way to figure out what I'm doing when I'm not on the channel, come over the internet, do social role-playing things, whether it's streaming, writing, shouting into the void, generally speaking. But normally I'm just here, just hanging out. Other shows I'm on WebDM for Simper Room, and on Gilding Light for Cypher. Cool stuff over there. What about you, Lauren?
I am Lauren, I'm the Salty, and I'm at that Salty Ginger over on Twitter. You can find me here, you can find me on the Scraticus Academy running Urban Shadows, off the table every other Friday for a Cypher System game, on Nomadic for the rest of the month playing Tales from the Loop, and very soon a Barovian Revenge campaign on Saverick, something I can't announce yet, and I'm going to be taking part in Scarathon representing Salty Sweet Games with some other awesome D&D players. I'm so excited. We're raising money for St. Jude's, and it's going to just be an awesome event. You may even see some of the streams very prominently displayed on Twitch. So we shall see. And okay, channel stuff. Let's do it.
Yeah, so of course want to give a shout out again to our general channel sponsor, Roll20.
Roll20.
They are our virtual tabletop of choice. They are amazing.
Tabletop of choice.
They're amazing. They're bringing gamers together across all sorts of distance, time zones, whatever else, all through the power of the internet. Super easy to use, free to use, all that great stuff. They're also working really hard with the influx of people using the servers. So please give them some love over on Roll20 on their Twitter, because they're great people. And also, we are part of the Spotlight program, so please check out the other Roll20 Spotlight people, a bunch of other great TTRPG indie creators in the space, so lots of awesome stuff there. And of course, another shout out to our other sponsor, Dice
I'm gonna
and
get
Me.
it this time.
Let's do it. Let's get that focus. Come on.
I can do it.
Come
Just
on.
keep. Hey! Yay!
Yeah, we are part of the affiliate program over at Dice Envy, so you can get some really cool, pretty dice with really fun. Don't eat the
They're
dice.
not edible.
They're not edible. Really pretty dice, either acrylic, metal, or wood, like those big chunky boys. And if you use the code SaltySweet, all caps, one word, you get 10% off of your purchase, and also to support us. So awesome stuff. Again, thank you to everyone who has supported us, whether that's through donations, subs, or if you want to go check out our Redbubble, we've got merch there too. Again, everything money-wise goes directly to channel upkeep and hopefully moving to cash compensation in the future once we get everything done production-wise.
Yeah.
So again, everything goes to keep the lights on here so we can keep bringing content to y'all. And speaking of content, if you ever miss an episode or want to rewatch one, we've got a YouTube channel. We're getting really close to getting a custom URL. Please save me from my branding nightmares in which I do not have control over our URL. So please go support us there. Just a quick click of the subscribe, and you'll get cool TTRPG content in your sub box. And of course, follow us here on Twitch and on Twitter to find out when we go live, whether that's going live for our regular series, or whether that's going live for whatever random one-shots or video game we decide to play. We just started Resident Evil 2 recently, which has been super fun. We're doing a noir with the Clara run through, so it's super dope. We can't see shit, but
anything.
It's funny. But it's really fun and highly aesthetic. So you'll get those on the YouTube and whenever we feel like it, live on Twitch. So again, please just make sure to follow us on both here and on Twitter. I think that's it.
Nailed it.
Hell yeah.
Jam!
Jam!
Jams, Captain Subs! I think
That's why I sneak those in near the end.
Yes,
one of my favorite things is like on YouTube, like nobody can see what we're responding to in chat, so unless we actually say it, it just looks like who knows.
That's just more encouragement for them to join us live.
Oh yes.
True.
Hello, YouTube friends. Hello.
Yes, but yes,
Come say hi.
we'll be back live for sure on Saturday for our Pulp Cthulhu series, and on Sunday for our actual season finale of The Witcher. It got postponed this past week because of Zoom.
We love you, but also.
So we'll be live with that as well for the actual season finale of The Witcher Crimson Ash, and of course back on Monday for whatever happens next year. I don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah, we're gonna go see if we can raid somebody. If we can, make sure to stick around and chat, spam that hype, or spam the hearts if you don't have the hype emote. And yeah, we will see y'all next week.
Next time. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye.